All right, let's dive into one of the absolute darkest corners of this entire saga. We're talking about the Twilight Puppet King's desperate, frankly horrifying ritual to escape his own hollowness and become terrifyingly real.
I mean, really think about that question. What happens when a shadow wants to be real? Because for a being that's literally made of nothing, that sudden glitch of sensation, of actually feeling something, well, that's not a gift. It's pure existential terror.
So, at the center of this, we have the Twilight Puppet King, Gibba. He's this sovereign who rules from a rusted iron throne, not through any real power, but through this profound emptiness that perfectly mirrors the fears of his people, the herd.
But see, something's starting to change. He's beginning to feel something. This kind of dull throbbing that he thinks is the vibration of the herd. This glitch of sensation is terrifying to him because it threatens the very foundation of his void-like existence. He desperately wants to stop being just a reflection and become a concrete, undeniable thing.
And to really get why he's so terrified, you have to understand this one core idea. The Puppet King is the absolute not I. He's a conceptual vacuum, a hollow space that's only given form because of the fears and desires that other people project onto him. He has no internal self, and that's a source of his power. But now, it's a source of his greatest fear.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because it frames the entire saga. The king is the perfect, horrifying opposite of his nemesis, the jester. You've got the jester, who is the absolute itch, a self-creating force of pure will. And then you have the king, who's just a void. He can't stand being a mere reaction to the jester's action.
So, how does a being made of nothing solve this problem? How do you ground yourself in something? Well, he needs a binding agent, right? A kind of metaphysical glue to fuse his conceptual nature to the flesh of history. And to do that, he calls upon three very specific and very sinister entities.
He summons the high priests of the tarantulas. Now, these aren't just any priests. Oh no, these guys are the weavers of stagnant peace. Their entire purpose in life is to pull everything great down to the exact same level. They are the perfect, horrifying conduits for his transformation.
The ritual they come up with is, frankly, a masterpiece of metaphysical horror. It needs three very distinct components, and each one is channeled by one of the priests, all to construct a brand new reality for the king.
First, and this is absolutely crucial, the binding agent. Pure, unadulterated revenge. The priest of malice injects the poison of revenge, the venom of the tarantulas, right into the king's wooden joints. And this isn't just symbolic. It's a coercive glue designed to bind all the chaotic, organic parts of this ritual to the king's rigid, hollow frame.
Okay, so you've got the glue. Next up, the king needs a past, a history. So the priest of broken oaths channels the repressed shadows in the ancestral blood of the ancient Volsung saga. This is the very same curse the jester wanted to expose. But the king? He doesn't want to expose it. He wants to consume it, to absorb all that tragic weight and mistake that heavy burden for the true gravity of sovereignty.
And finally, every ritual needs fuel, right? An engine to make it go. The priest of envy provides it by siphoning the life essence of the herd. Specifically, their deep-seated, resentful desire to pull down anything great, anything that stands out, and just drag it into the mud. This raw, envious energy is the engine for the king's transformation.
So as all these horrifying ingredients are gathered, the tarantula priests start their chant. And what are they chanting? The liturgy of the beautiful cage. I mean, that's the great irony here, isn't it? The king, in this desperate attempt to be free and real, is actively praying for the construction of his own permanent prison.
With everything in place and the liturgy being chanted, the puppet king undergoes this just grotesque transformation. The texts call it a Fichtian Anstoß, which is basically a violent shock from an external reality. For the king, it's this horrifying resistance from within, as his abstract nature is forcibly fused with actual physical substance.
So let's break down this horrific fusion. The rusted iron from his throne, it integrates right into his body, becoming a literal mechanical spine. That ancient Volsung blood he consumed, that becomes his flesh, weeping out from under his golden robes. And the venom of revenge, the tarantula poison, becomes the animating spirit that powers this new clockwork body. And here is the absolute kicker, the most crucial point of this whole thing. The king completely misinterprets what's happening to him. He feels this agonizing weight of his new biological form and thinks he's achieved some higher unity. He mistakes the heavy burden of flesh for the gravity of sovereignty. But the reality? He's just become a grotesque object,
trapped in a prison of his own making. Which brings us to the final, grim outcome. The king got his wish. He is no longer a hollow reflection. No, he's something far, far worse. He's not an empty concept anymore. He is a consuming fire of pure stasis. He's fueled by ressentiment, that deep-seated poisonous resentment that always blames others for your own failures. And with that, he weaves a clockwork reality over the world. His heart is now just a mechanical pump, cycling only the poison of revenge. The only peace he can offer is the sterile, silent peace of the cemetery.
And here it is, the ultimate tragedy. In his desperate attempt to truly exist, to escape the void, he has turned himself into the ultimate idol of stagnation. He is a machine built of hate and history that can't live and can't die. All it can do is slowly, inevitably, rust.
He really thought he'd beaten the jester's chaos by becoming concrete. But by solidifying himself, he trapped his own consciousness forever inside a prison of nerves, pistons, and ancient hate. It's a victory that looks an awful lot like the most absolute defeat you can imagine. So you have to ask, in his quest to feel real, did the king just build himself a more permanent prison?